Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim. I am a plant mom, and today I thought it would be a good idea to talk to you about my garden. I think it's time to show you all of my little projects of this year's garden. Last year was a test year for me because I didn't know what to expect on what can I grow in my garden or not. And it was also my first real experience, even though I practice gardening in my parents' house like for years now. It was my first time alone and gardening on my own. And when I started gardening, I made a lot of mistakes. Some of them were funny, others cost me a lot of time, energy, and a lot of plants died too. So I thought it would be great to talk about that too, and yeah, just share with you the biggest beginner mistakes I made along my little way, in the hopes that you can either avoid them or at least laugh with me about it. So yeah, let's go. So right now I'm very happy to show you what I've been growing in my garden for the first time of the year. I have a lot of things. Yeah, I've been a little bit crazy with the seeds. Even though I don't have all of my planters yet, but yeah, it's in construction. My dad is making my planters, so I have my own planter builder here. But right now you can see that I have a lot of happy plants here. First I have lavender, which I have to put it in a bigger planter because now it's still in the nursery pot. I also have some strawberries from my parents' garden, which they are, I don't know, they are kind of sad, but I think there is too much light on them, so I think I'm gonna move them soon. After that, I have a lot of herbs, parsley, coriander, and chives. And on this way you have my seedlings of beets, red radish, black tomato, which I'm very proud of because it actually comes from a black tomato that I ate, and I bought it at the store to eat it in my salads. And I figured, like, yeah, why not take the seeds out and see if I can grow something out of it. And here we are with a lot of tomato plants and not enough space. Here are my green beans, which I did grow last year, but I think I started the seedlings a little bit late last year because I had my green beans on September and there is not enough sun in here to grow them out fully. So this year I put the seeds in the soil very early, so I'm gonna be able to have my green beans, I don't know, maybe in August with a little bit of luck. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. And here is my already half consumed microgreen stations. I have red radish, beets, and also rockets. Basically these are my little pots for when I want to put microgreens in my salads. And here you have two rose bush, which comes from my parents' garden too, and I planted them I think a month and a half ago, and at first they were really sad. I don't know, I thought they would not survive, but they are still green and I think they are gonna make it. Yeah, a round of applause for me because that was, I don't know, I was scared. I didn't really think they would survive, so yeah. So now that you are familiar with my new garden set for the year, let's talk about the beginner mistakes that I made last year and also a little bit this year. First, overwatering. Yeah. If you are familiar with my videos, you know that I am overwatering all of my plants outside and inside my house. I don't know what to tell you, I just overwater anything. And I used to think that the more I watered, the better my plants would grow. Mostly outside because, there's a lot of sun, and during the summer, sometimes they are really thirsty. Spoiler alert, I basically drowned my monstera and about all of my parsley seedlings at first. So yeah, Now I know letting the soil dry out between waterings is very important, and outside or inside, each plant has its own rhythm and needs. I would say that second mistakes would be the wrong light exposure. The reason why I can't really grow things directly on the soil of my garden is that I don't have the same amount of light exposure on each side of my garden. Like the right side where my planters are the parts that have the most light exposure, and on the other side it's basically a lot more humid and there's like a little spark of sun at the end of the day, but yeah, during winter there's no sun at all. So you really have to think about the needs of what you're gonna plant in terms of sun exposure and trying to meet that with the placement in your garden. Because at first I didn't realize how sensitive some plants are in too much light or even in too little. So now I have to always double check what kind of light a plant actually wants before choosing its spots. Mistakes number 3, I will say that I learned it this year and not last year. It's doing too much and too fast. Basically what I did is that I did a lot of seedlings without knowing if I had enough space or good light exposure for every one of them. And now I have like a lot of tomato plants and I don't think I'm gonna be able to have them all. So don't go too excited at first and buy like 10 plants in a week, because if you don't know exactly how much space you have and if you buy plants that are gonna need a lot of space, you're gonna be stuck very quickly. Also, having too much plants in your garden, sometimes you don't have the time to take care of them all properly. During the week I usually work, so I have to water my garden at night. But if I go out during the week or even in the weekend, sometimes I skip watering my garden. So yeah, the plants don't like that at all. So if you have a lot of plants, please make sure that you can and that you will be able to take care of them properly in the next months. Mistake number 4 will be neglecting soil quality. I learned that the hard way last year, basically when I moved in this apartment. I think I talked to you about that in my first video about my garden, but the last renter like made the soil of my garden the worst of it. Like she puts fake grass on top of a plastic thing and on top of wood and on top of the soil. So basically what happened is that the soil completely rots. It smelled really bad when I took off the fake grass, and I had to let the soil breathe for a few months, even like for a year, before I tried to plant anything in that. Me, before this experience, I used to think any plant could grow in any kind of dirt as long as there was sun and water. And yeah, now I know that the right soil makes a huge difference, and that's why, while trying many times to grow grass in this garden and to grow things directly on the soil, I know that no, sometimes you have to get planters even if you have a garden. Good drainage and rich nutrients also are a part of that, and it really is the foundation of everything if you want to have a flourishing garden. The last mistake is mistake number 5, and I will say it will be not observing enough. Gardening is a passion for me, is a hobby, and I used to grow with my parents gardening a lot, and they are still gardening. So it's in my, DNA. I will say that, gardening is a part of my weekly chores, it's a part of the lifestyle that I live. And so am I observing my garden and what's going on in it a lot. But I will say that sometimes when life gets, you know, pretty fast and a lot of things are going on, if you go on vacation, if you are doing a lot at work, or if you are going out a lot, you are missing things, and sometimes missing important things. What I have in mind, for example, is that sometimes at an early stage you can catch parasites in your planters. You can also like see if you have like rodents in your garden that can sometimes eat your seedlings. Also birds, you have to be observing what kind of birds you know, are visiting your garden, because it's always important to know if there is also birds that are eating your goods. So yeah, sometimes just observing and, you know, not only be focused on planting and watering is important, because sometimes you are missing on important things. It was always a habit, but now that I actually grow things on my own in my garden, I make it a real habit to observe and, you know, take the time to look at what's going on. And yeah, plants speaks, so through their leaves, through their roots, and even their smell, you just have to pay attention, and sometimes you will be able to fix something before it even happens. So yeah, I think that's it for the video. Sorry, there's a lot of sun in my face right now. Honestly, I will say that mistakes are a part of the process. Even with houseplants, I talked about it a lot of time, but when you make mistakes, you can actually learn from it. That's how you actually become a better plant parents. So the best advice that I can give you is that if you are starting out and messing up, it's okay. It's always okay, because it's part of the process, and that's actually how we learn. Sometimes you have to learn it the hard way, and it's okay too. You have to make it your way with what you have to, because somebody can, you know, give you advices on when to water, what kind of light exposure you have to have, and everything when you are gonna, you know, put your seeds in the soil. Sometimes, you know, with the garden you have or with the condition you have, you can't do it all. So you have to, you know, get your way out of that and find your own schedule, your own thing, your own organization around your garden, and make things work, you know, in your own way. Let me know in the comments what kind of beginner mistakes, or even like expert mistakes you made in your garden. If you have some, I would love to learn about your stories. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed it myself a lot. Please like, share, and subscribe to it. It would help me a lot, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!